All right, White House advisor Stephen Miller joins us tonight from the White House, and it's good to have you back on. And we're talking affordability tonight with the president. And, you know, we've been through a really bad few years. Inflation skyrocketed for very obvious reasons, tremendous spending in Washington. The cost of living, though, it remains high. Because when inflation goes down, that doesn't mean the prices drop. We don't deflate. It just means that we're going up at a slower rate. And I think Democrats and the media have done a pretty good job of making what was the Biden inflation disaster this White House's problem. Do you agree with that?
Well, I agree with you that the Democrat media lies for a living, that they're professional liars. So it's a good opportunity to review the facts. Under President Trump in the last few months, we have seen the first significant reductions in prices and the cost of living since the last time President Trump was in office. For 4 years, we saw record-setting double-digit inflation upwards of 20%. And now under President Trump, inflation is back down to desired benchmark levels of a little bit over 2%. But to be clear, President Trump is doing more every single day to keep bringing costs down. President Trump is fighting to reduce the cost of energy to historic lows. Did you know that right now, as an example, Americans are spending less of their disposable income on energy because of President Trump's work to open up American energy than at any point in 2 decades? So he's removed all the regulations, opened up drilling, opened up oil, opened up natural gas. He's brought down the price of household goods. He's brought down the price of groceries. He has fought like a warrior to bring costs down. But we cannot be strong enough in stating just how much damage Biden and the Democrats did to the economy over 4 years in creating record-setting, budget-busting Biden inflation. But President Trump, since he came in, has been working to bring down prices, bring down costs. Look at another issue, Obamacare. Obamacare has been an abject failure. Obamacare has led to rising premiums for Americans. Who gave us Obamacare? The Democrats. Who's fighting to defend American patients from Obamacare? Republicans and President Trump. And one more issue we have to talk about is immigration. For 4 years, the housing costs were exploding because Democrats were flooding your communities with illegal immigrants, with foreign workers, and with foreign nationals who are getting subsidized housing, rent-controlled housing, Section 8 housing, even public housing, gobbling up housing supply. President Trump is reversing that migration.
Yeah, and it was funny. I caught on Morning Joe this morning that they were mocking the idea that the illegal immigration insanity that we went through for 4 years affected home prices, as if bringing 20 million people into a country wouldn't create upward pressure on the price of a house. Of course it is. Where do you think all of these people are living? They're living in homes. It's simple supply and demand, and they spent the first 5 minutes of the show mocking that, which I just thought was comical. Inflation is down. It's obviously closer to
40% of the population of rent-controlled housing in New York City are foreign-born. Think about that. In one of the largest metropolitan areas in the world, 40% of rent-controlled properties are being lived in by people who weren't even born in the country? What kind of system is this? We bring in people from foreign countries, and then we pay to lower the cost of their housing, while people who were born here have to pay higher prices? So when President Trump is reducing net migration, that is what's going to ultimately, along with all these other steps, deregulation, historic tax cuts, going to bring down the cost of housing.
Let me ask you about this. Inflation obviously is down close to around 3 points. You're trying to get it down to 2, and I know that's the benchmark. Democrats, though, they say, and I think they have a point here, that you've rolled back tariffs on meat, tomatoes, bananas to get costs down. They say that proves that the White House understands that tariffs can be inflationary. What's your response to that?
What it proves is that Democrats don't understand how trade works, and they don't understand how foreign policy works. President Trump initiated his IEEPA tariffs to save America's defense industrial base and manufacturing base, which was vacuumed up by foreign countries all over the world. NAFTA sucked the jobs out of this country. The World Trade Organization sucked the jobs out of this country. The European Union stole our jobs. So President Trump issued tariffs that have been used to slash our trade deficit, reshore our manufacturing, bring back jobs, and result in trillions with AT, trillions of investment in this country. as a result of specific trade deals that were reached. For example, in Central America, we are now able to remove tariffs on certain products. How can you enter into a negotiation with a country that is ripping you off and stealing your industry, but at the starting point you're exempting their own critical industries from your tariffs? This is the end result of a successful negotiation. One of the issues that was resolved in this negotiation, for example, is the theft of American textile jobs. So President Trump is achieving fair trade deals that restore our critical industries, that slash our trade deficit, and then in the part of those successful agreements, we're able to lower these tariffs.
Fair enough. And obviously, I understand the tariff game. I do think in the immediate term it can be somewhat inflationary, but I also understand why it's needed, and I understand the end goal of it.
Leave the fact in mind that inflation is down in record time. It took Reagan over 2 years to make a dent in Carter's inflation. Over 2 years. And to do it, if you remember, Reagan brought interest rates up to massive numbers, which led to an extraordinary contraction in the economy and millions of job losses to ultimately get past inflation, right, in 1982, when he came in, or in 83, 82, when he came in 81, was elected in 80. President Trump, through his, judge it by the results, President Trump came into office, slashed the trade deficit, trillions in new investment, critical industries back on our shores, wages are rising for the first time in 4 years, energy costs are the lowest they've been in 4 years, and he did it all while also implementing these tariffs. So the claims that tariffs would cause inflation have been proven flat out wrong. Democrats wrecked the economy for 4 years. Let's remember, for 4 years, they put you through economic hell. President Trump is the one who's reversing that.
Trust me, I get it more than anyone. I want to ask you really quickly about the H-1B visa before I let you go. The president had the Laura Ingraham interview, made some comments that set off some people saying that we don't need, we need foreign workers. We don't have enough people in this country to do these kinds of jobs. He clarified it earlier. I want to play that if we can, guys.
We have to train our people how to make chips because we didn't do it. We used to do it, and then foolishly we lost that business to Taiwan.
So, the H-1B is interesting because he put that big $100,000 tax on that visa, which I think people in this country loved, especially the MAGA base loved. And then he makes the comments to Ingram. Where does the White House stand tonight on the H-1B visa?
Well, the president was very clear in the comments that you just played, which is that he's talking about the semiconductor industry, which is one of the most coveted industries in the world, one of the most national security important industries in the world. Very few other countries are able to compete in this space, and all of those jobs left for Taiwan. And so the advanced semiconductor industry, which is essential to our national security, has been taken out of the country. And so he's talking about a program in which you have a knowledge transfer to Americans of how to do a very specific manufacturing process. That's completely separate and apart from the fact, as you mentioned, that President Trump, through 212F, has put a $100,000 fee on new H-1Bs. We're already seeing a dramatic change in the processing of these visas as a result of that. The Department of Labor has launched Project Firewall to fight illegal discrimination against Americans and illegal abuses of the H-1B program. You also have the highest standard of vetting that have ever been in place in new visas, including foreign student visas. The State Department has revoked tens of thousands of visas, and they're just getting started with tens of thousands of more. We have a new focus on denaturalizations. We have a new focus on cutting back on welfare tourism and welfare migration. And, of course, you've seen, again, for the first time in over half a century, net negative migration to this country. You have more foreigners leaving the country than those that are being added on a permanent basis. The last time that happened, again, was over half a century ago during the period in American history in which we had net negative migration for an extended period of time.
I think the demographics of the country were changing quite a bit too fast for most people's tastes, and it seems like that's moving back in a direction that's more palpable to the American people. Stephen Miller from the White House. Hey, thanks a lot for joining us. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Everybody's reporting the same stories, the same spin. You turn the channel, it's always the same. But not us. We're different. We report the real news. No spin, just the facts. Turn to us, and you won't turn back.
Tune in to Rob Schmitt tonight on Newsmax.